It's 11:15 on the 4th of October. This is for the interests of Interpol, CEPOL and the European Court of Human Rights. As I've been documenting, I'm experiencing quite a high level of crime. There's a huge theft level that I've experienced since 2005 and again since 2017. There are individuals of false reporting. It's retaliatory crime. It's exacerbatory crime. And as I've mentioned and documented, there was a bunch of keys stolen from me last Friday week by individuals that were associating themselves with a local governance body in Tralee, County Kerry, that have not fulfilled the obligations of their contractual arrangement with me since 2019, where they have damages to compensate for that are visible even just now on this upload, and that's only one of the damages. So I'm there in that apartment since 2019, and there was a bunch of keys stolen by individuals that are not representative of any local governance body. So the theft was reported to the local authorities, and the apartment wasn't accessible. I'm there for years, and in the meantime, there are individuals of false reporting, exacerbatory retaliatory crime, that are making false claims and allegations and putting the role of the authorities at risk again. Now, as I've mentioned, there have been huge reforms in the justice system as a consequence of what has occurred since the abduction of my child, the unlawful care orders of my child. It's affected mental health, it's affected the childcare, and now there's agricultural policies and all that, which are relevant to my farmland. So the issue of the social justice issue being offended from my recovery advocacy as a humanitarian in this community with the Victim Support Federation, and the debt recovery and the health recovery are now all being associated with fraud and corruption again, as a consequence of people making false allegations regarding my patronage and my property. Now, they don't seem to have a level of comprehension with how things have transpired since January 2017, when my son was unlawfully separated from me. That was critical. That offence was not treated as critical, and it was exacerbated. So now, with all the stolen property that's been supported as a crime from my belongings, my contents, etc., the bunch of keys that are stolen and the items that I own in that arrangement are all being subject to more crime. So it's quite serious. There's stolen legislation. There's stolen creative intellectual property. The legislation of this country hasn't been attributed or credited, and it's subject to fraud. So there's quite a dangerous issue then as well with the child that was taken from me illegally. So these people are not making our world safe. These culprits are not in a position to be offending royalty. They're not in a position to be offending the reform, and they're making false allegations, and they're putting the role of the authorities at risk again. And we've already seen what has happened as a consequence of the authorities assisting crimes against me since January 2017, when my child was taken without proper protocol or procedures. The Tusa Child and Family Agency have behaved quite irresponsibly. The Ombudsman for Children have supported non-action. My child isn't legally from my care, and now there are people in a repeat exacerbatory offence of false claims, false allegations, and putting the role of the authorities at risk again. So the wealth that I own hasn't been located, the bunch of keys hasn't been located, my child hasn't been located, and there's damages to the health reforms that have initiated from all the crime that was being conducted prior to 2017 and thereafter. So those that are offending the Hippocratic Oath and offending crime against the Narcotics Anonymous Fellowship, it's quite unsafe for doctors to be using my name or my role titles in their slander, defamation, or false reporting. So the European Court of Human Rights, there's a huge obligation with regard to what's going on for it to be resolved, repaired, and restitution, recompense, these kind of words, you know. Reconciliation is out of the question, but these people that are living off my wealth and living off legislation that's come from me and enjoying a new lease of life are really not comprehending how I am not supporting any of the initiatives. They don't have the support of where they have originated from. simply due to crime and corruption, tarnishing my good work, my contributions, my humanitarianism. So I'm very surprised with the United Nations that any frauds offending my contributions or my humanitarianism or my advocacy would be condoning or facilitating or supporting any more false allegations or slander with regard to my creative intellectual property. So those people that aren't qualified, that aren't fit for a professional position in any of these situations, and that are of theft and fraud, stealing from a child is quite dangerous. So the baby belongings of my little boy at 18 Rock Street, that's quite dangerous, a theft as well. So those people of false allegations are now also compromising again the role of the authorities. So this is an update with regard to people in society hindering progress and that aren't qualified to be, I suppose, assuming a position that they're not really equipped for, coveting from my faith or family while slandering or stealing from my family is counterproductive. So those people that are offending my family names or my family lines, I'm really concerned for the I'm concerned for a lot of matters that are arising from this situation because of the crime and corruption that has already happened that hasn't been learned from. So those people that are helping themselves to wealth that they don't own, I have to reiterate, it's not safe wealth to be spending. So the ECB, IMF, I really hope you know how I have contributed to wealth recovery and how dangerous it is for me to be tolerating slanderous stalkers stealing from any living arrangement I had with a local governance body of the county council, those of any private arrangement with other culprits in this fraud or theft situation, stealing from the fruits of my labour and my little baby boy. Have they already seen the consequence and the error of their ways? You know, it's a learning lesson and sometimes people don't catch the lesson and then, oh, it's just sad. Like, so anyway, those people that don't know about what's right and wrong, I'm concerned, you know. Some people have integrity, some people don't. But any doctors out there that are guilty of defaming my competency, capabilities, or character, you're in trouble with the Hippocratic Oath already, as well as a few other establishments, organisations, and fellowships. So anyone that's disrespecting the Hippocratic Oath is really, you know, not doing health recovery from my initiatives of humanitarianism any favours. This community has been rotten in, well, collective, should I say. We can't tarnish everyone with the same brush, but those of that collective spreading malice and hate and debasing and denigrating standards in society, it just it shows a poor reflection in the land grab. So those preoccupied and neurotic about my farmland and not playing clean are dirtying the pitch where they think they're trespassing onto. So those of debt evasion, I'm calculating debts owed for damages, harms and losses since 2005. So as I said, I've been of huge health and wealth recovery, and the European parliamentarians, I hope you're aware what crime has done to Europe and this island and Britain, with what has been convoluted and conducted against my wealth and fortune. There are people helping themselves to where they have no entitlements, and they've stolen from a child his mother, his innocence, and his safety. So those people responsible, I hope they are aware what I've done for social justice in Ireland and the benefits or the people that have prospered and been protected as a consequence of COVID from people that haven't been playing clean in their relations, affairs and transactions. So this crime is quite dangerous. Anyone reporting anything stolen from that, making false allegations against my royal names, positions and titles, are putting themselves at risk. It's very dangerous. So any young aspirants that are coveting from my positions and titles might be careful about their dirty debts. If you can't honour your debts, you're not fit for purpose, you're not fit for business. And stealing from a mother, you always know it's just not a good idea. So anyone being cheeky with anything that I've earned or that is my natural birthright or my entitlement. I hope the authorities might be able to put people straight, because this matter is quite disgusting. It's just rotten to the core. So I think I've said enough as much as I can at the moment. This is just an update. I'm experiencing crime. I'm of crime prevention, and the politicians up in Dublin, I don't permit or support creative intellectual property theft from my credentials, qualifications, or portfolio, my professional portfolio that has reformed society. The ACB and the IMF Health and Wealth Recovery has happened as a consequence of me, and that's all at risk. So those obstructing and that aren't qualified and that don't have any credentials in this matter might be careful coveting from my position or threatening the peace or exacerbating their dirty debts that they owe for damages, defamation, disrespect. It's a sad sign of the times.